When the party says power to the people, we ain't diving a pound. We say power to the people.
Power to the people.
Police, fascist police are suppressing, repressing the white revolutionaries as well as the blacks who speak of and who are attempting to attain liberation.
It says, I'm a victim for real. Everything I talk is for real. I really got my ass beat. I really don't like them. The interviewer wrote police.
Did you mean police?
No.
What did you mean?
I really don't like crooked police.
I am not standing for violence, but I do stand for self-defense.
We say, bring it on. If you want war, let there be war.
Tupac's association with the Black Panther Party significantly shaped his music and perspective. The Black Panthers were renowned for their militant strategies and revolutionary discourse, which Tupac regarded as a blueprint for the type of political engagement he aspired to. In his interviews and music, Tupac frequently alluded to the Panthers and their quest for black liberation.
That are oppressing people of color all over the world, and on a local level, the police, fascist police, are suppressing, repressing.
Tupac's upbringing was steeped in these very influences. His mother, Afeni Shakur, was a member of the Black Panther Party, just like his godmother, Assata Shakur, and his godfather, Geronimo Pratt. Moreover, his stepfather was Matulu Shakur, a member of the Republic of New Africa. Tupac was nurtured in an environment surrounded by these revolutionary ideologies, and this unmistakably left an indelible mark on his music and worldview.
I am bothered by the fact that there are thousands of young black children who have been murdered in this country.
Afeni Shakur became a member of the Black Panther Party in 1968. Unlike many other well-known Panthers who came from college campuses, she hailed from the streets of the South Bronx. She credited the Panther Party with providing her with valuable life lessons and, quote, home training. She even faced imprisonment for her political involvement while carrying Tupac, highlighting the deeply entrenched roots of activism in his upbringing. During her time in incarceration while pregnant with Tupac, she would affectionately rub her stomach and declare, "This is my prince. He is going to save the black nation." However, she successfully defended herself in court and was acquitted on 156 counts. She courageously represented herself as her own defense lawyer during a lengthy 8-month trial. The charges against her and her fellow Panthers included conspiracy to bomb police stations and other public locations. Remarkably, just 2 months after her complete acquittal, she gave birth to her first and only son. Both she and her son were survivors of FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover's aggressive campaign against the Black Panther Party during the early 1970s. Despite a turbulent relationship with his mother, described by Tupac himself as a whirlwind, it's clear that he inherited much of Afeni's worldview, as he described it in a rare 1992 interview. Quote, "I always looked up to revolutionaries like Fred Hampton and Bobby Hutton from the Black Panthers. They weren't saying or striving for anything much different from what we are saying and striving for today. They died for that, right in their own beds. They were so young, and how could you forget that?" Tupac's given name offers a revealing glimpse into his revolutionary heritage. Initially named Lasan Parish Crooks, his mother made a significant choice just a year after his birth, renaming him Tupac Amaru Shakur, in homage to the 18th century Peruvian revolutionary leader Tupac Amaru, who led a rebellion against Spanish colonial rule. This was a deliberate and meaningful decision.
When they see me, they know that every day when I'm breathing, it's for us to go farther, you know? Every time I speak, I want the truth to come out. You know what I'm saying? Every time I speak, I want to shiver. You know, I don't want them to be like, they know what I'm going to say because it's polite.
Afeni moved the family to Baltimore to escape the trap of unemployment that she felt stemmed from her activism. Meanwhile, Tupac flourished at the Baltimore School for the Arts, where his intellectual abilities and acting talents took the school by storm. Not long after, he began to write poetry and raps, and wrote in an English essay that, "Our raps, not the sorry story raps everyone is so tired of. They are about what happens in the real world. Our goal is to have people relate to our raps, making it easier to see what really is happening out there. Even more important, what we may do to better our world." By this time, they have shifted to the Bronx. Residing in the Bronx, Afeni Shakur worked as a paralegal while endeavoring to instill in her son the importance of education. Since his early years, Tupac was affectionately known as the Black Prince. Afeni named him Tupac Amaru Shakur, signifying Shining Serpent Blessed One, a name imbued with revolutionary significance, reflecting her desire for him to carry the name of a revolutionary figure. Recalling her son during an interview, she said, quote, "I'm not a filmmaker, I'm not a music producer by choice. Whatever it is I'm doing, I do because my son was murdered and he was not able to complete his work. So as his mother, my whole job and responsibility is to see to it that that happens for him, and I do that with love." Tupac was born on June 16, 1971 and tragically passed away on September 13, 1996 at the young age of 25. In his short life, he made an indelible impact on the world, but the world in which he grew up was even more violent than the one his mother saw. As he put it, "I grew up in the Black Panthers, but in my teenage years I grew up around hustlers. The crack C epidemic and Ronald Reagan's deceitful war on D that followed it brought a tsunami of gun violence to black communities across the United States. An environment shaped by poverty, police brutality, and DA was one Tupac had to deal with firsthand. Despite all these, he gave mind-blowing music. Tupac emphasized that thug life wasn't what the general public commonly perceived it to be, challenging prevailing stereotypes and misconceptions. He said, quote, "Thug life is the opposite of someone having all he needs to succeed. Thug life is when you have nothing and succeed when you have overcome all obstacles to reach your aim." Struggle and entanglement with the criminal justice system were constant companions for Tupac Shakur from a young age. His godfather, Elmer Geronimo Pratt, a prominent figure in the Black Panther Party, had been convicted of a school teacher during a 1968 robbery. But after many years, Geronimo Pratt's sentence was eventually overturned, and the charges were dropped as he was found innocent.
In 1972, Pratt was wrongfully convicted of the murder of Carolyn Olson. He spent 27 years in prison, 8 of those in solitary confinement. He was released in 1997.
Tupac also revealed that at the age of 13, he found himself homeless, highlighting the challenging circumstances he faced in his youth. During this time, Tupac was part of the 127th Street Ensemble Theater Group in New York, where he began to cultivate his talents and interests. In June 1988, Tupac and his family relocated to Marin City, California. There, he enrolled at Tamalpais High School. In 1989, he furthered his artistic pursuits by attending poetry classes, marking the early stages of his development as a multifaceted artist.
And when you were in Baltimore, you were in a School of the Performing Arts. Yes. How come you didn't enroll in one when you came to California?
I couldn't find one when I came to California, and I was broke, so...
Although Tupac is often remembered as one of the key figures in the gangsta rap movement of the mid-1990s, his upbringing, early career, and personal convictions paint a different and more complex picture. Before the negative influence of mogul Suge Knight's death row records and the violence that ultimately led to his tragic death, Tupac was a determined individual who aimed to rekindle the spirit of the Black Panther Party during its heyday and make a positive impact on the world in the process.
We was asking with the Panthers. We was asking with them, with the civil rights movement. We was asking, Now those people that were asking, they're all dead and in jail.
If we look deeper, Tupac's music and ideology find their roots in the principles of the Black Panther Party, black nationalism, and the pursuit of liberty. His album Tupacalypse Now served as a platform for his socially conscious perspective, undoubtedly one of Tupac's most overtly political albums. Much of its content revolves around themes of police brutality and the consequences of poverty.
Brenda wants to run away. Mama say you're making me lose pay, and social work is here.
It's worth noting that during this period, Tupac was engaged in a lawsuit against the Oakland Police Department. Surprisingly, this legal battle eventually culminated in a $42,000 payout for the young rapper, an outcome that was uncommon at the time.
All I want to say, for all them people that doubt me, I had no record all my life, okay? No record, no police record, until I made a record.
Through tracks like Brenda's Got a Baby, Trapped, and Part-Time Mother, Shakur shed light on pressing issues such as social justice, poverty, and police brutality. This album was profoundly influenced by the social awareness that characterized the hip-hop scene of the late 1980s and early 1990s.
Look me in my eyes. And anybody that thinks I've committed that should go get Brenda's Got a Baby and keep your head up and listen to him thoroughly.
Tupac's commitment to asserting his rights and challenging authority was a defining aspect of his character. This was further evident when Vice President Dan Quayle called for his record label to withdraw the album in the aftermath of a state trooper shooting in Texas. He said, quote, "For everyone who doesn't know, I, an innocent young black male, was walking down the streets of Oakland minding my own business, and the police department saw fit for me to be trained or snapped back into to my place. It was alleged that a copy of Tupacalypse Now was found in the tape deck of the accused, and the media focused on the song Soulja Story, which drew loose inspiration from the story of the Radical Jackson brothers. Quayle went on national television to condemn the record, stating that, quote, "It has no place in our society."
They are making money off a record that is suggesting it's okay to kill cops, and that is wrong.
In response to this veiled threat from one of the highest offices in the land, Tupac did not back down. He used his music to call out Quayle and continued to advocate for his principles, refusing to be intimidated by such pressure. Despite this controversy, the album is best remembered for the emergence of a fresh, angry, and rebellious voice in hip-hop. The standout track, Brenda's Got a Baby, was unique due to the fact that, in his own words, quote, "No male rappers at all anywhere were talking about problems that females were having." With his heartfelt and evocative storytelling, it remains a stone-cold classic to this day. His mother once said in an interview, quote, "Let me first say that any of those songs that Tupac wrote was primarily the way he felt about something. I needed him to say how he felt, specifically about the pain that I had caused him. That's how we heal." Moreover, one of Tupac's earlier songs, Panther Power, served as both a tribute to the Black Panther Party and a reflection of his early revolutionary political convictions. It's worth highlighting that before attaining success in his rap career, Tupac was actively involved with the New African Panthers, underscoring his commitment to revolutionary activism and social change.
You kept my history a mystery, but now I see the American dream wasn't meant for me.
Indeed, Tupac's influence on hip-hop was profound, and he left an indelible mark on the genre by infusing it with political and social consciousness. One memorable example is the 1998 remix of his 1992 track Changes, which gained significant exposure on popular music video channels in Britain.
Come on, that's just the way it is.
These channels typically lacked political content, making Tupac's Changes stand out and open a brand new world for viewers. With its compelling blend of catchiness and meaningful lyrics, Changes served as a gateway not only to hip-hop, but also to the profound injustices faced by Black America and the broader global community. Tupac's music became a vehicle for raising awareness and sparking dialogue about important social issues. He rapped, quote, "And still I see no changes. Can't a brother get a little peace? It's war on the streets and a war in the Middle East, instead of war on poverty. They got a war on D so the police can bother me." Tupac's most iconic song incorporates a reference to Huey Newton's call for African Americans to arm themselves as a means of resistance. This track samples the melody from Bruce Hornsby's The Way It Is, and includes lyrics that address critical societal issues like police brutality, poverty, and the war on drugs. Changes endures as one of Tupac's most influential and resonant songs.
But we can never go nowhere unless we share with each other. We gotta start making change.
Tupac's references to the Black Panther Party and their principles are also evident in other tracks such as Words of Wisdom and White Man's World, highlighting the enduring impact of the Panthers' ideas on his music and worldview. As he has already said, it doesn't take a 20-year-old young black man to tell the world to get off this violence at the theater thing. It's a double standard because every movie that's out today, there's a gun, and nobody notices that except when it happens with a black film. Nobody recognizes the red and the blue in the poster unless it's a black film. But what actually is Black Panthers, and why did Tupac find inspiration? The Black Panther Party was founded in Oakland, California on October 15, 1966, by Bobby Seale and Huey P. Newton. The organization's primary aim was to safeguard black neighborhoods from police brutality, which was a significant issue at the time, which Tupac also highlighted in his early songs.
If you listen to the Tupac song and then you do your own investigation, Tupac said 2 shots in the dark, now Huey's dead. I got love for my brothers.
In 1967, the Black Panther newspaper was first circulated. During the same year, the Black Panther Party organized a march on the California state capitol in Sacramento to protest the bans on weapons. By 1968, the party had expanded its presence into numerous cities across the United States, including New Orleans, Chicago, Los Angeles, Detroit, San Diego, Denver, Newark, New York City, Boston, Dallas, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Seattle, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, San Francisco, and Omaha. Membership reached its peak of approximately 10,000 by 1969. Eldridge Cleaver, a prominent member of the party, had a newspaper circulation of 250,000. The Black Panther Party also authored a 10-point program, a significant document outlining demands for land, bread, housing, education, clothing, justice, and peace. Members of the Black Panther Party were actively engaged in community service and advocacy. They worked at the North Oakland Neighborhood Anti-Poverty Center and also served on the advisory board. To combat police brutality, the advisory board successfully collected 5,000 signatures in support of the city council establishing a police review board to address complaints. Huey Newton, one of the founders of the Black Panther Party, was not only involved in these activities but was also pursuing his education. He took classes at City College and attended San Francisco Law School. The men and women of the Black Panther Party indeed played a significant role in the civil rights movement, and their actions were often characterized as acts of real-life, quote, superheroes. They were willing to risk their lives to effect change within a system they saw as deeply flawed. Their history is a testament to the power of individuals and groups who take a stand for what is just and righteous, striving to make a positive impact on behalf of their communities and the people they represent. He said, quote, "The white mother country radical is the offspring of the children of the beast that has plundered the world, exploiting all people, concentrating on the people of color. These are children of the beast that seek now to be redeemed because they realize that their former heroes who were slave masters and murderers put forth ideas that were only facades to hide the treachery they inflicted upon the world. They are turning their backs on their fathers." End quote. The Black Panther Party indeed had a set of rules and guidelines that dictated the conduct of its members in their daily activities. Among these regulations were rules concerning the use of D&A, as well as various other actions. Members were required to adhere to the 10-point program, and memorizing it was part of their commitment to the organization's principles and objectives. These rules and programs helped shape the party's structures and goals, ensuring a unified and disciplined approach to their activism and advocacy. The Black Panther Party faced numerous police attacks and intense government surveillance during its existence. One of the most infamous incidents occurred in Chicago on December 4th, 1969. The Chicago police, in coordination with the FBI, which had been actively targeting the Panthers, conducted a raid on the home of Panther organizer Fred Hampton. Inside the home, the people had been deed by an FBI informant, William O'Neill, and were asleep at the time of the raid.
I haven't received a fair trial, that I should not have been indicted in the first place. I was indicted by a blue ribbon grand jury.
Tragically, during the raid, Hampton and his guard Mark Clark and met their demise. The other occupants were forcibly removed from the residence, beaten, and subsequently charged with assault. This incident is remembered as a highly controversial and tragic event in the history of the Black Panther Party and their struggle for civil rights and equality.
So you don't feel you've had a fair trial?
No.
Why?
Number one, the judge has been very racist throughout.
Then on April 7th, 1968, a tragic and violent incident occurred in which Panther Bobby Hutton was K'd, and Eldridge Cleaver was wounded in a shootout with the Oakland police. 2 police officers were also shot during the confrontation. Initially, Eldridge Cleaver claimed that the police had initiated the confrontation by rushing them. However, Cleaver later admitted that he had led the Panther group in a deliberate attack on the police officers, which led to the shootout. This incident remains a somber chapter in the history of the Black Panther Party and the confrontations they had with law enforcement during that period.
The police, fascist police, are suppressing, repressing the white revolutionaries as well as the blacks who speak of and who are attempting to attain liberation.
While it's true that during Afeni Shakur's involvement with the Black Panther Party, the organization made some significant mistakes, it's also important to acknowledge their successes and the substantial contributions they made to the civil rights and social justice movement.
These are systemic issues and problems. Tupac Amaru should be at least an indication that it happens throughout our community.
The Black Panthers were known for advocating principles of equality, peace, and liberation, not just for African Americans, but for all people, regardless of their race or gender. They used their platform to speak out in support of people in other countries, such as Vietnam and China, aligning with broader anti-imperialist and anti-war movements. And that is why fans believe that due to his roots, he always supported Huey P. Newton. One person wrote, "Tupac made me know Malcolm, Huey, Hampton, and Billie Holiday because it's not in textbooks. I only see Martin Luther King." "Big thanks to Pac for teaching me history of my black brothers in America." Another person added, quote, "Highly intelligent and articulate man. A revolutionary who cares about oppressed people. He accelerated the rate of black progress. He affected many people's life positively." Tupac's early work and life undeniably created a space in which artists like Dead Prez, Mos Def, Talib Kweli, and numerous others would later find their footing. While some aspects of his life and legacy may raise complex questions, at the heart of it all, Tupac was a revolutionary with a compelling narrative to share. His impact on the hip-hop genre and his unwavering commitment to addressing social and political issues paved the way for a new generation of artists who would follow in his footsteps.